What's up, YouTube? It's Ask the Young One with CreateHigherVibrations.com. Today I wanted to make a quick video and answer a question on why bad people get away with doing bad things. And they seem to get it, this seems to be a constant. And a lot of people want to understand because for the most part we like to think that we're good people. And so we want to understand why a lot of times we have to deal with such negativity while someone that seems to be a bad person can just walk right over people and get away with it. And there's a couple of reasons that I've learned along my journey that have opened my mind and helped with changing my perspective on this. And some of the things that we have to understand is that we live in a universe of duality, which means there is good and there's bad, there's dark and there's light, there's positive and negative. And one thing that I have came to realize is that in dealing with a lot of the negatives, it kind of had to happen in order for me to truly gain the appreciation and gratitude for the positives. So without the negatives, there wouldn't be the positives. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense in this understanding. And then the second part of this is understanding about all things are energy. We live in a universe of energy. You know, our connection to God is a connection of energy, God energy. And this is how we connect to the infinite intelligence of the Creator and co-create our life when we're able to do this. And we're not shutting ourselves down. So understanding how energy works and all things are energy, then you can understand that when we put this energy forward and we do this with extreme belief, we have a strong belief within this, and so we put that belief along with the power and the belief that we deserve and going after, or the belief of this is the truth and this is how it's going to be and this is I'm not going to stop because I deserve it, etc. The power of belief is extremely powerful. If you've ever dealt with a cerebral narcissist and their belief of their intelligence, whether it's Google intelligence or actual intelligence, they will believe that no one else is smarter than them and that all things revolve around their greatness of their smarts. And so a lot of times with people, they will use that and they'll use just the power of belief. The power of belief is extremely powerful when it comes to resilience and winning in life and being successful at something. You truly have to believe in it, and you put that power along with energy in the belief, and it's very hard to beat. And so a lot of bad people will do this along with, I want to make sure it's clear too that everybody understands that a good person can create the same amount of energy through a good belief doing good things as well. It's just unfortunately we have bad people that do things this way. It's kind of a hack for them, and they don't know much difference because there's a couple of key elements that function with this. And one of the key elements is with bad people doing bad things is when you can do things with no remorse and you can do things with no guilt and no shame and you have no conscience, you have no problem with what you're doing. As long as that power, the energy and that belief is strong enough, then it's a good chance they'll get their way and they'll do whatever it takes, and then that's how they do it. And so I want to make sure people understand that, when it comes to we live in a world of energy, we don't live in a world of fairness. And things have to be balanced in this world. And, that without good, there is no bad. And without bad, there is not good. And so there is a balance within things. And so we can, as people, choose which direction we want to go. And for the most part, I know for me, I've witnessed people do things, and I still witness it, because when you deal with toxic people, that doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to create this type of energy through the belief. And so you can still see them get their way many times. And they do things that simply other people, especially as an empath, you just cannot fathom ever doing to another human being. And so it's really frustrating, to watch, and it's even more frustrating to try to understand it. And then when you talk about the God energy and creating this energy and the universe and the divine energy that it takes to function with this, you have to understand too that energy is not, it doesn't discriminate. It simply understands the power of the energy. And that's what it functions from. It doesn't tell whether it's good energy or bad energy. It just knows whether or not it's got the momentum for it to go forward, and then it will go forward and accomplish as far as it can go. And if that means that person becomes successful at what they're doing, then that's what that means, because they had a higher momentum going. And so to understand this, you have to understand that energy is not and does not discriminate. It's simply um, it doesn't know. It does not know the good or the bad. It's kind of like the unconscious. When we function from the subconscious, we have the power to create this energy just sitting still. We can create this through imagination and create it. And the subconscious doesn't know if what we're imagining is actually real or not. And that's why it's so important and so powerful to understand how this stuff works and how we can use our mind in very good and positive ways. But again, back to this video and why bad people get away with what they do. Well, the two key elements is they have no conscience, and they have the power and the energy and the power of belief running with them very strongly. And so when that happens, it's very hard for them not to win or not to get their way. And so I felt like this should be a pretty decent answer, and hopefully the muffler guy will get that fixed for that poor gentleman. But um, I wanted to explain it in a simple term because that's about as simple as it gets. It's simply when you can understand all things are energy. Energy is not discriminated against, so there is no good or bad or favorable energy. It's just a matter of the power of it and how much is being created in a momentum and going forward in a very powerful way. And so this is one reason why so many people get away with what they do get away with, again, because there's no remorse for what they do. They don't care. They only care about where their belief believes that they're going, and it becomes very, very powerful. Now, we can also, as a lot of people will say, well, how can we change this, or how can this happen or that happen? Well, the only way we change it is by doing our own part. And our own part is by creating the power of energy through love and kindness. There is no higher frequency than love. So if you're able to cultivate that from within and then make that and then pursue that outwardly, that is going to outdo almost anything that anyone in this world negatively is doing. And so it's very important that we understand to spread that as much as we possibly can in order to create a better place, a better world. But we also have to understand that there's always going to be bad, and then there's always going to be good, and there's going to be a balance within. And we have to understand this. And so therefore, again, it comes down to what we choose to do and choose to be. And honestly, for me, it's like when we live in this third dimensional world, in this material world, the people that are going and walking all over everyone, that is their goal. They're only winning at on this third dimensional level. They are not winning on a consciousness level. They're creating a lot of bad debt for themselves, and eventually that debt will catch up to them. So, it's another part of understanding karma, and we may not see it when it happens, or it may not happen until after they're dead, and then that's when they get hit with the karma, or their next lifetime, whatever it takes. But they're not going to just get away with doing this life as hard as they can and hurting other people. Like you can't just go through life consistently doing bad things to people and it not catch up to you at some point. And that's, the thing is for me, like when I was really trying to understand this, it really, like I said before, I couldn't imagine doing some of the shit that I watched people do. And And it just, like there's just no way I could function that way. Not to just create this this a wicked, controlling, third dimensional existence like that. Like I've experienced and know what it feels like to be on this planet for an entirely different reason. And so when we can understand our path is so much beyond this third dimensional world. It's literally the experiences that we're getting. Our journey is within how we respond to those experiences. And if we respond in a positive, good, and start putting that out to humanity, then that will be the journey that we end up following, and it ends up unfolding for us. And it's a much more positive, happy, self-cultivating thing, whereas the bad people are simply using a hack to find their outer world, and it sucks, but it's just kind of how it is. I mean, it's like I said, we're not in a universe of actual fairness where, oh, you're a bad person, you're a good person. Like there's truly no way to actually determine that standard. Who creates that standard? It comes down to beliefs. It comes down to individual beliefs. And my goal here in this video is, hopefully I answered the question on why bad people get away with doing bad things. But my goal here is also to create the understanding of energy. And when you can understand that, you will begin to understand a lot more of where to direct your focus. I think my next video, just to give a little heads up, will be kind of my frustration of where the focus goes for people, because there's not enough people talking about the actual root cause of all of these things, and it's trauma. And so if we put our energy into bringing trauma to the light, where it's understood, then we're diminishing a lot of things. And so that's another video. But I wanted to make this video, and I hope it helps. I hope it created a different perspective. Hope it answered the question. And I will go for now, and I will talk to you on the next video. So have a great night. Namaste.